Senator Garcia will be absent from today's meeting. Commissioner Bastian. Here. Vice Chairwoman Regalado.
Present.
Chairwoman Higgins.
I am here. Good morning.
3 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. All right, so now we've officially quorumed. So now, back over to you all in the attorney's box.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. It's appropriate to extend reasonable opportunity. You do not have any public hearing items.
Okay. I don't have any cards, but public hearing is now open. If anybody would like to come to the podium and comment on any of the items on today's agenda. I don't have any cards, right? Okay. All right, seeing no one, public hearing is closed. We'll move on to setting of the agenda.
There are no changes to your final printed agenda. A motion to set the agenda is in order.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Show the agenda adopted. Okay, colleagues, we have our friend, Commissioner Steinberg, here with us today. I don't know if we want to bifurcate anything on the agenda, but at a minimum, I'd like to go to her item first, so she doesn't have to pass the whole morning here at our committee. 2B and then 2E are more or less the same item. One is about interlocals with the municipalities and the other is in UMSA, but just really looks at, particularly in the case of my item, looks at municipalities being able to have a little more flexibility in moving to 20 or 25 miles an hour when appropriate. And I believe Mickey does the same in Commissioner Steinberg in her area. Obviously, all state laws have to be followed. If the state requires us to do a study, we've got to do a study. The municipalities have to do a study. So, Commissioner Steinberg, I'll turn the microphone over to you on 2E.
Thank you. As you stated, it gives them the ability. You know, we get a lot of requests, and now this gives them a mechanism to see if it would be something that would be feasible to do and to help them get there should they request it.
Any questions for Commissioner Steinberg?
Yeah, I gotta turn it on.
Thank you so much for your item. I just have a quick question. So we do know that it is extremely important for homeowners, neighborhood associations to partake in these decision-making processes, right? So it's vital that you know we view our local resident roads and then to do things. Through this item, how can you ensure that the communities that are surveyed or consulted before implementing a speed reduction in their area? Because you know participation is key.
Right. So thank you for that question. I couldn't agree more. This is not something we are doing automatically. This is only giving the ability to, because we have heard from neighborhood associations and from residents who were very frustrated and wanted to have traffic calming measures, i.e. speed calming humps, or what are they called? Speed tables, or lower speed limit, giving us just more tools in the toolbox to try to address the needs of the communities that came out. This is not automatically doing anything. They still have to come to us and request.
Commissioner Regalado.
Thank you. And first of all, I love the two items. I know we talked about them here at committee, and I would love to co-sponsor both of them. I think it's great, and I'm glad you guys got it done so quickly. I think that for the UMSA one, to address Commissioner Bastian's question, as the commissioners, we get the bulk of that. So I would just say, and I think this will happen organically, I don't think we have to put it in the item, but I think it'll happen organically, that when people come to us, then we can go to the department and start this process. Because I can tell you right now, I can list off 5 different groups in UMSA that want this, and I know that, and I'm glad that there's also a historical, because we know that the board already did it around parks. And a lot of those neighbors in those adjacent areas wanted to be extended beyond the park. So one of the things I think it'll just happen organically. I don't think we have to spend money or time on outreach. I think through our commission offices we can handle it because we're the ones that are getting the calls. And normally in UMSA, when you get a call for a speed table or rumble strips or a circle, it's not just the one street. It's like 4 or 5 different streets, and it's it's usually a part of the neighborhood near a school or near a park or near a library. There's something that's brewing there. So I think it's a great opportunity, and I would actually prefer it not to have a bunch of too many parameters, because I think that'll just slow us down when we know that. No pun intended. Dun dun.
All right, colleagues, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion on
Move it.
2B and 2E together.
And
Move it.
if I could just,
Yes,
I'm sorry,
Chief.
through the chair. As you know, this topic has also been addressed in some other prior directives. We are close to wrapping up a memo that will lay out the whole process, the field assessments that are necessary, et cetera, the costs of replacing signs and all that kind of work. That would probably address most of these issues. The interlocals, we do actively encourage cities to enter into the locals with the county, not on issues like speed, traffic mitigation and whatnot. Some have, some haven't, but we could also continue working to encourage, this might encourage more cities to do that.
And Chief, if you're worried that anything in these 2 items are duplicative and that would make you do work twice, that is not our intention.
Understood.
You let us know, and we will modify that before it gets approved by the full board, right?
Madam Chair, and I would say, I mean, Chief, if you're working on, I think Kevin was the one who brought the original item, right? So, I mean, if that's almost out, I would tell you, like, put a pin in it for a second so that these can pass the BCC, and then include them all together, because why keep coming back?
It is not our intention for the department to do work twice. So if you
Understood.
feel like, Commissioner Steinberg and I in this committee is asking you to do that, you let us know, and we will make whatever modifications need to be made when this comes to the full board. Okay?
Will do, thank you.
All right, so it's been,
And please show me back on 2B. Thank you.
okay. All right, I heard, I forgot. Okay, moved by Commissioner Regalado, seconded by Commissioner Bastian. All in favor of 2B and 2E?
Aye.
Aye, those 2 pass. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Steinberg. We appreciate you coming to explain the item.
Thank you.
All right, colleagues, on the rest of the agenda, are there items we would like to bifurcate or just have questions?
I just have a question on 2A, and again, the senator's not here, but my concern is on the second part of it, and it says legally identify available funds to fund the project to the extent the district funds are insufficient. I understand that we do that usually, but we don't do that anymore. I thought we had a conversation about how we weren't going to do that. So it says here that the lights, that he's putting in 100,000 and that the lights are 60 and that he's putting a 40,000 contingency. But then it says if there isn't enough money, find it in the budget. I just don't feel comfortable with the find it in the budget. I think we have to kind of put the brakes on the find it in the budget. If it's not enough, then I guess come back to us and then we'll figure it out. But we're trying to limit the find it in the budget conversations that happen on the daily around here.
Okay, to the attorneys, this is Commissioner Garcia's item and he's not here. Are we able to modify that so that this moves forward with his 100 and 140?
Yeah.
Can we just get confirmation that his staff
Thumbs up from Araya.
getting a thumbs up? Araya, before you go, so we could modify it, we could make an amendment, we would modify it to be just the district funds and move it forward, and, okay. Would you like to make that amendment?
Yeah, I'm happy to make that amendment. And listen, I know that we normally draft this way, but I think that in the next year or so, we should not draft this way. I've told my staff the same thing. So I'll just strike out the second part, identify additional legally available funds. Should, to the extent that the funding that they're putting in is insufficient. So that's my only amendment, and I'm happy to move it with that amendment.
All right, moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, show that item passed, and I am glad that that's moving forward, because,
Yes.
these dark underpasses are sketch, and we need them dealt with. Thank you.
And-
All right, anybody else want to have a question on something else?
I have a quick question, Madam Chair, on 2C.
Sure.
Commissioner Regalado, I'd like to thank you for sponsoring this item. And also to appreciate, the fact that you're always working hard to find creative ways, to generate more income for our residents, So I really appreciate that. And we know, as you clearly stated, there will be many big events coming. We're looking at the World Cup, the Rolling Loud, Cayocho, Jazz in the Garden, Miami Carnival, Haitian American Compa Festival. So there will be some big events. So rightly so, it is good to find and explore unique pricing models. My only concern is about how we protect our residents. Because we not only our residents, but our employees, our students who might be affected, how can we make sure that they are not impacted?
Well, I mean, I think historically, what the county has done when we have these large events, once upon a time, we used to offer transit for free. But given the constraints on our transit system, I think that we need to look at dynamic pricing. And what I was talking to the administration about is look at what's happening with the ride shares. I mean, the entire transit system separate from us is moving towards dynamic pricing. So, and I understand your concern,
Yeah.
but at the same time, and we're not saying that it's going to apply to everything, but just so that we can be competitive. Obviously, this has to come back to us. Any sort of change in the pricing comes back to this board. But I think even, this could allow us to extend the times. So, for example, in areas where we're stopping at 11 o'clock or midnight, if we have dynamic pricing, like on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right, like the weekend ones. If we know people would rather do that. Right now, their only option is to take an Uber, or to take a Lyft, or to take a ride share, right? So I'm not saying exclusively to do it for the existing times, but also potentially maybe we can extend times if we do dynamic pricing. So Jimmy, I don't know if you want to weigh in. We talked about this at length.
I think because
Before Jimmy, my question is how do we protect
So
everyday rider?
So
I mean, for example, let me give you an
if I
example.
may, I think we can. Most of our everyday riders, the folks that are using this every day, have a weekly pass or monthly pass.
Right.
And so there would be a way to say, and we know that means there are daily commuters that are using this going to and from work. And yeah, maybe every now and then they go to a fancy concert, right? But mostly they're using our system to get to and from work or to and from school. And so we could certainly, when this comes back to the board, and I would encourage you to present options for our weekly and our monthly pass
And obviously, we have
holders.
Golden Passport. We have
Correct,
a
Golden
series of
Passport
other.
never
We have
paid.
a series of other things that this would not impact.
Yeah.
Th-
So
yeah,
I
the-
think
I
I think you could figure that out.
through the chair, I think our sense is this is not to get more money out of our current ridership. It's to offer folks who otherwise would be spending $40, $50, $60 to
Right.
park at the stadium or take an Uber to have a less expensive public option, but that could create revenue for the department and maybe also take a lot of those cars off the road. So I think that's what I read that.
And by the way, we started this conversation when we were talking about what's already happening at the stadium. So at Hart, they already have the private buses, and people are parking in a parking lot and taking the private buses to the stadium. So the question was, could we do something similar, right? I started talking about it during our Basel because I thought that there was an opportunity if we could have people park at our Metro Rail stations and take a bus and go to Miami Beach, somebody would pay a set fare for that because they would have predictability as opposed to a $400 Uber, right? From Coconut Grove to Miami Beach, which actually happened during Art Basel. That's a thing. So someone would pay $50, $60 for a set fare if it had certain times. So it's really about capturing that weekend special event, space that is being dominated by private providers. And we could do it with a contract, and we could provide people with a service and gain riders with something that's a little bit different.
Like I said, I understand why you bring in this item, and I support it. It's just that we have to we have to find ways to mitigate the impact on our students, on residents, and others who might not be, able to partake in most of these events, like the World Cup, for example. I mean, how many of our visitors will be able to afford it? So that's what I'm talking about. I do support the item, and with that, I'll move it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in
Second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Show that item adopted. Any
Madam
other?
Chair, just one
Yes,
final
sorry,
comment if I could
Mr.
add.
Chair.
The Chair, Commissioner Bastian, we understand that, and that we get that very clear. And what's going to be interesting is, as part of World Cup, we are working already, the department, to try some of these ideas, because the fear of traffic is such that we are going to sort of test our muscles on that and get some good knowledge out of it. But we will keep your goal in mind, I promise.
And it includes an assessment of fares, so it's in the item. We'll talk about all that.
All right. You seconded
I
the past
seconded it,
motion.
right.
Yeah.
I
Okay, we
seconded
just want to clarify. So Commissioner Bastian moved it, Commissioner Regalado seconded. We all said yay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other bifurcations?
Nope, I'll move the rest of it.
All right, so moved, seconded by Commissioner Bastian. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The rest of the agenda is moved. Before we adjourn to the attorneys, I have two items that I have in development that I would like to co-prime if Commissioner Regalado will have me.
Always.
One is further developments of the underline, including funding agreements, and then also, where am I here? Naming rights for underlying facilities. That one is already in the agenda process. So if you will co-prime those things, that will
Happy to
be
co-prime those two.
just in case I'm not able to finish them before I leave. Thank you very much. Colleagues, any other questions, comments? Attorneys? Team? Transportation team? All right, so show the meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Permit-safe.
¿Quiere reformar la cocina o reparar el techo de su casa? Hágalo de manera segura y conforme a las normas. Sin un permiso corre peligro de incendios, goteras o algo peor. Y esto pone en riesgo vidas humanas, reduce el valor de su casa, da lugar a reparaciones y multas costosas e infringe el código de construcción. Permiso es igual a protección y protección es igual a tranquilidad.